I've done it before, but I'll do it again. Someone asked for all the waterproofing things required to make a Rubicon idle underwater. So here you go. 2-inch snorkel all the way into the airbox. I have a video on how to do that. Every single vent line ran into the headlight pod. Mine come up, go around, and come down. Works awesome. For by every single vent line, I mean all of them. So there's the vent line you see right there. This is your fan vent line for your radiator. Here is the vent line for your coolant reservoir. Okay, and then you have your front diff vent line, which is, you can see better on the other side. So you have 3 right there just on the front. And then you have your radiator weep hole vent line. You can see the vent line right here. Yep, okay. That goes for your front diff. And you got your radiator weep hole vent line. You can see this hose right here, that goes in the headlight pod. And then you've got your rear diff vent line. You can see it right there. That goes all the way to the headlight pod. I use sprinkler hose from a little tiny sprinkler hose from Home Depot and splices. Also, I've taken every single connector on the bike apart, filled it with dielectric grease, and put it back on. Most of the really important ones to do that with are right up under here and in this box. Also, there's the snorkel. You can see the bends. Also, this helps a lot too. You have to take your airbox out of the bike and seal up all of these penetrations. See, I put Ultra Gray. Ultra Black works better, but there's 3 of them. There's this one, the one down there, and then the one for the side. Also, Giant Air Filter really helps. That's off of a 450R. Pro Design, Pro Flow air filter. Really good mod. More airflow, you know what I mean? The exhaust is crucial because you delete your O2 sensor, which freaks out when it hits moisture and gets cold and stuff. I'm not a big fan of this exhaust. As you can see, it's full of mud. Completely full of mud. If it'll focus right. Yeah, see all the mud in there? The mud in there sounds like shit, and it probably robs some power because there's no back pressure because the air blows straight through it. But it does help it run underwater, I'm convinced. It's also important to drain your rear seats, your seat sometimes. Set it like that, let the water come out. Save some weight. What else have I done to make it run underwater? Tuning it. I tune it just by feel. You gotta play with it and stuff. That's really it to make it run underwater. Pipe, tuner, big snorkel, run all your vent lines properly, and grease every connector on the bike. And I mean every connector. It's not hard to work on. Pull the front rack, pull the bumper, pull that center piece, pull this piece. You can probably leave the back, and grease the heck out of everything. I went as far as to remove all the wires. See how I have no wires right here? When you do a water wheelie, the back of your bike gets really deep. So all my wires are up here. Kind of a mess, but you can't notice it until you look up in there. You can see my voltage regulator and everything's mounted all up here right under the gas tank. So when I do a water wheelie, the bulk of my wires aren't even getting wet. My battery is also moved up front. I did that more for weight distribution, but it does help with keeping the battery from getting submerged really deep in water. One thing I had a problem with recently, other people had issues that finally happened to me. This button, if you go in a lot of mud, it'll eventually get screwed up. You see it works fine now, but it was getting to where it wouldn't, let's see if it'll do it. It wouldn't stay. I fixed it, but I just took this off, flipped it upside down, filled it with white lithium grease, worked it back and forth, let it sit overnight, put it back together, and it works fine. A little bit of mud had gotten here, and the little catch that holds it in wasn't functioning properly, but it's fixed now. These little screens help too. There's a video on that. If you go underwater and you sink it, usually a bunch of pine needles will get caught on that, and it'll actually starve the engine for air and kill the motor before it manages to suck water all the way into it. It saved me a few times. This is also the mystical bike that, as someone pointed out, doesn't need air to run underwater. It actually runs on the exhaust underwater. That is not true. I don't know where he got that from, but it does seem that this bike can run without air for a pretty substantial period of time. But yeah, that's really all the mods to make it run underwater all day long. I'd say the most crucial thing to do, if you had a stock pipe and you want to run underwater with a stock O2 sensor, is the big 2-inch snorkel all the way into the airbox. That 2-inch pipe does not go to reducer. It's 2-inch all the way into the airbox. I have a video on how to do that. That's really crucial. If you don't get that done right, it won't run underwater right with the stock pipe. There's also on the stock pipe, there's a plug right here. You can take that plug out. I've heard that helps. It is yet to be confirmed. And there's a sensor up here. You see it right there. That's called